Okay, I made this video to help you with some rotation of functions. I know the other video explained the math behind it, but some of us are having difficulty translating that into Desmos. So I want to show some ways of doing this into Desmos. So first thing you have to do, you have to define your function, and you need to use function notation when you're doing this rotation. So I'm going to say I'm going to let f of x equal a quadratic. Let's say I'm going to do x minus 2 quantity squared, quantity squared plus 1. So here is my quadratic, and this is the U shape I want to rotate around a little bit. So I need the next thing I need to do is set up my parametric. There's a couple of formulas that you can use, but the one I found that works on Desmos the easiest is I'm going to make this a order pair point. So my x-axis, my x value of this parametric equation is defined by t cosine of, and identify a variable. I'll do r for rotation angle, minus f, and I'm using the f because my function is called f of x, but instead of using x, we'll use the variable t, so f of t times the sine of r, rotation angle, comma, so that's my x coordinate of this parametric equation. Now my y coordinate of the parametric equation is t sine of my rotation angle plus f of t times the cosine of my rotation angle, close parentheses. And notice it has a slider for r, so I'm going to set up this slider of r, which is my rotation angle. And also, once I set that up for my r, you'll also see this t value here. We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's finish setting up a rotation angle. So I want to rotate this 360 degrees. So I'm going to set this from 0 to 360. I'll go by 1 degree at a time. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to go over here to our settings and make sure degree is highlighted. Usually radians is highlighted by default, so you need to convert it into degrees. So that's the next check that you have to make sure is that you're on degree mode. Now you'll notice that this is only showing a piece. It's not showing my full U shape. So what lets you change how much of that U is showing is this t parameter of our parametric equation. I found that in most cases, negative 20 to 20 will work for our graph. Whoops. Negative 20 to 20 didn't show up now. Undo. Negative 20 to 20 will usually work and show up what I need to see of my parametric equation. Can you see quite a bit is showing up? And I'm a little off on my rotation. I'm at 1 degree, so get closer so you can't see it's off. Okay, but for whatever you need a set for how much of your graph that needs to show, you can play with this a little bit. And that's going to help you define up how much of that graph is showing on or not showing on your graph. So you can see how I'm just changing this number until I get what piece of that red graph I need to show. So I know that's the piece I need to show for my domain and range. So so you're going to have to change this t value quite a bit to see how much you need to show to limit your domain and range of this parametric function. And then you're just going to move this around to see rotating this around. So I'm spinning it around 360 degrees. Just rotating all the way around. And once you find the piece that works, let's go where I can see a little better. So let's say we want this piece here, a little bit higher. So let's say this is what matches our graph. And let's say maybe I need it a little bit shorter to fit in. Okay, so maybe that's what I now need. So notice I changed my t values to set that in to my image. So that's where it's fit into my image. Okay, so that is my setup. So this would be what I would add. This would be in my folder for parametric. And then when, let's say I need a new equation, so I turn off that one. So now this is my parametric equation. Let's say I need to do this again at some else on my graph. So I'm also in my parametric folder. So this time I have to redefine a function, but you have to define it as something different. So this time, let's say make it k of x is equal to, let's try an absolute value graph. So there's our absolute value graph that we have. And again, we're going to rotate this around. So we got to do our parametric t cosine. Now I need to choose a new variable for my rotation. You can still do your rotation angle. Let's do sub 1. So now this is my rotation angle of 1 minus k of t sine of my rotation angle sub 1, comma, t sine rotation angle sub 1 plus f of t, oh sorry, k of t, cosine of rotation angle sub 1 in my parametric equation. So I now have a new slider for r sub 1. Set that up again. And you should be still on degrees. So that should always, once you set to degrees, it's on degrees. But notice my black is only showing that little piece of my absolute value. Okay, so what I like to do, once I get this set up, I'm going to rotate my angle around. I usually set this at -20 to 20 to start with. And then rotate this around till I have the piece I need to fit. Let's say right here is that absolute value one that I needed to fit. So that fits in. Then I play with my t value to fix that domain to the piece that I need for my graph. Oops. And say that's the piece I need for my graph. And then turn this off. And then that's what I'll have showing up on my graph. So that is the easiest way I have found to do parametric rotations in this on your function, on your Desmos project. I hope this helps.